The One and Only Ivan, read by Mrs. Bartz. Angry. Thump. The sound, my sound, echoes through the mall. George and Julia spin around. Julia drops her backpack. George drops his keys. The pile of pictures go flying. Thump, thump, thump. I bounce off the walls, screech and bellow. I beat and beat and beat on my chest. Bob hides under Knot Tag, his paws over his ears. I'm angry at last. I have someone to protect. Puzzle pieces. After a long while, I grow quiet. I sit. It's hard work being angry. Julia looks at me with wide, disbelieving eyes. I'm panting. I'm a little out of shape. What the heck was that? George demands. Something is really wrong, Julia says. I've never seen Ivan act like this before. He seems to be calming down, thank goodness, George says. Julia shakes her head. Oh, he's still upset, Dad. Look at his eyes. My pictures scattered all over the floor like huge autumn leaves. What a mess, George says, sighing. I wish I wouldn't have had bothered sweeping tonight. Do you think Ivan's okay? Julia asks. Probably just a temper tantrum, George says. He reaches under a chair to retrieve a brown and red picture. Can't say I blame the guy, stuck in a tiny cage all these years. Julia starts to answer, but then she freezes. She turns her head. She stares at her feet where my pictures are lying all over the floor. Dad, she whispers, come see this. I'm sure he's sorry, George says. Let's pick these up and get going, Julia. I'm exhausted. Dad, she says again. Seriously, look at this. George follows her eyes. I see blobs, many, many blobs, along with an occasional swirl. Please, can we go home now? That's an H, Dad. Julia kneels down, straightening the picture. Then another. That's an H. And here, she grabs more pictures. Put this one here, and I don't know, maybe that one. You have an E. George rubs his eyes. I hold my breath. Julia is running now. She picks up one picture, sets it down next to the other. It's a puzzle, Dad. This is something. It's a word, maybe words? And a picture of something, a giant picture. Jules, George says, this is crazy. But he's looking at the floor too, wondering and wandering from picture to picture and scratching his head. H, Julia says. E-O. Oh, I don't know. H-E-O-I? George writes in the air with his finger. I-E-O-H? Not the letter, an actual I. And that's a foot, or maybe a tree. And a trunk. Dad, I think that's a trunk. Julia runs to my window. Ivan, she whispers, what did you make? I stare back and cross my arms. This is taking much longer than I had thought it would. Humans. Sometimes they make chimpanzees look smart. That's all for today. Make sure you listen tomorrow.